Hello, everyone, and welcome to this welcome and introduction to Block Party number 148, happening tomorrow, Friday, April 14th, 2023. It's been like a month and a half since we've done a block party. Now, why is that? We've been traveling a lot. We've been busy with a bunch of other things. Marco is still on the road. Marco, James, and I traveled to Palenque, Mexico together, where we were there for over a week and had an amazing reunion of the eagle, quetzal, condor, and hummingbird, and which was absolutely amazing. And so we're going to be covering that among many other things tomorrow during the block party, and I'm excited for everyone to be there. So please join us. We're going to be talking food healers. That'll be the first segment. Please check the agenda both below in the description to this YouTube video, as well as in the or in the email. It's the same agenda. Then we're going to talk about one of the places we traveled. I traveled with Chief Phil Lane Jr. to INC23 in Austin, Texas, the Independent National Convention, which was just last week. And for the context and summary of INC23, please check out the other videos right here in the same YouTube channel that you're watching this video, also linked to in the email. And I'll include the links below. We're also going to talk about intimately connected with food healers is Homo ahimsa. So we'll be talking about Homo ahimsa, the evolution of our species to Homo ahimsa. And we're also going to be talking about a lot of other things related to this, but those are some of the biggest themes that we're going to be talking about. And I'll provide a little mini recap to INC23 and a little mini recap to Palenque right here in this video. But first, let me pause and pass the talking feather, and everyone feel free to jump in with any comments about any of the above or anything else for that matter. Passing the feather. All right, so let me now briefly recap INC23. INC23 stands for Independent National Convention. So there's the Democratic National Convention, Republican National Convention. This was the Independent National Convention. And among the independents, you've got the Libertarian Party, the People's Party, the Green Party, I mean, parties galore. But here's the interesting thing. Almost like around half the country is no longer self-identifying as either Democratic or Republican. They're self-identifying as independent, but there's so many different flavors of independent that still Democrats and Republicans by far, like 99%, dominate national politics. So what's wrong here? What's missing? What's missing is all these independents coming together. And yes, maintaining their independence and their individuality, but at the same time, forming some sort of a coalition or something. Well, what is that something? Well, we talk a lot about the context for it in the video called Context for INC23, or Context for the Summary of INC23. And then we summarize it in even more depth in the summary video of INC23. And so this is just a super condensed summary. INC23 was opened and closed by Chief Phil Lane Jr. And he gave it a beautiful opening prayer, drum ceremony, opening speech. Chief Phil also participated in panels. And as far as I'm concerned, was the most important person there and most important message. Why is that? Among other reasons, he addressed the core. And we talk about this extensively in the context video. You can even just watch the first 5 or 10 minutes of the context video and get what I'm talking about there. But basically, there's a core to politics, and the core, which is ideally spiritual, but not necessarily, as we talk about in the context. But whatever the driver of politics, there is a core there. What is that core? Ideally spiritual, then there's the political layer outside that core. Both of those are the main drivers for the economic layer of society. All three of those then become the context and the drivers for the cultural layer, culture of society. And of course, all those become the drivers for what it is, what are the actions that we take, the words that we use, et cetera, that becomes life. Anyway, that's all discussed more in the context. And, you know, they didn't provide that sort of mental structure as we provide in the context at INC23. We kind of derived it just to give it some structure. Most of the focus was on politics, right? Political parties, getting people elected. A lot of the focus was also on the revolution, right? Because if we're going to save, heal, and transform life on Earth, we need a revolution. They were mainly focused on the political revolution, but it's obvious to all of us here, we need a revolution, a spiritual transformation, not necessarily a spiritual revolution, but definitely a spiritual transformation at all levels of society. Politically, I think we need a revolution, not violent, but indeed a revolution. We also need economic revolution, transformation, cultural revolution, transformation, whatever you call it. All this needs to change and transform radically if we're going to save, heal, and transform life on Earth. In one of the best speeches at the convention, Brett Weinstein, talked about referring to, you know, the system or the system of systems as Goliath, and you know, representing basically the rent-seeking elites of society, accumulating more and more and more, and destroying people and planet. And freedoms and everything else in the process, in their relentless pursuit of more wealth, more privilege, more power, et cetera. And he referred to the Democratic and Republican parties as basically the political wing of Goliath in the United States, right? So a central theme is this Goliath that's destroying the planet and the country and pretty much all countries and ecosystems. And how do we get a handle on that? We'll probably play excerpts, if not the whole, of Brett Weinstein's speech. We'll also play excerpts, if not the whole, of one of Chief Phil's most important talks at a panel on religion and spirituality. Again, getting back to the core. So I'm just giving a bit of a flavor. Other topics and panels were on freedom of speech and freedom of expression, others on building coalitions and movements, others on health and wellness. I mean, there was just this full spectrum of talks and panels. Tulsi Gabbard gave gave a great speech. She was there. Dennis Kucinich, Chris Hedges. Each of those aforementioned both gave great speeches and participated in amazing panels. There was Charles Eisenstein, lots of great speakers. So I'm just giving a brief flavor of INC23. All right. So now let's talk briefly about Palenque. We were there for over a week. It was absolutely amazing. It was off in the jungle, very close to the pyramids, and we spent a full day at the pyramids itself at Palenque. And there were indigenous leaders and representatives from First Nations throughout North America, South America, Central America. Chief Phil Lane Jr. Played a key leadership role. We were hosted by Mayan chief Alexis, who led the ceremonies at the pyramids along with Chief Phil. And in addition, Marco, James, and I were the representatives of the indigenous people of the island First Nation of Ireland, kindred spirits, etc. So it was really this coming together. There were representatives from Pacific Islands. I mean, it's the beginning of this global thing, but it was still centered around and hosted in the heart of the Americas, the land of the Quetzal. So it was the union of the eagle, condor, Quetzal, and hummingbird. And help me out, Joe. Yeah, go ahead.
It was yeah, I suppose that would be a fair description of it as well. But it was like the eagle and the union of the eagle, the condor, and the quetzal and the hummingbird as representations of North America, South America, Mexico, and now the Pacific Islands, I suppose, the indigenous peoples of those lands. Well, for me anyway, it was a great honor for Ireland to be, a representative of Ireland to be invited there. But even more of an honor then for what transpired afterwards, which I'm not going to go into in depth here now anyway, but we'll talk about it tomorrow on the block party. But yeah, it was just, it was probably one of the most powerful experiences of my life, humbling experiences of my life, spiritual experiences of my life, and healing experiences in my life as well. So yeah, it was yeah, it's hard to even articulate, to be honest with you. But the main gathering, we were honored to be part of that because it was historic. I mean, it's part of a 500-year prophecy, Mayan prophecy, but the joint prophecies of the indigenous, they may differ, but they all come together in this, in roughly the same kind of conclusions, we say. Let's put it for that, lack of a better word. But the point is that the union was part of a prophecy that started 52 years ago, and in 1971 with Chief Phil, and he being recognized as the eagle when he traveled to Bolivia, and they decided to meet again in what the Mayan calendar or a timeline was called one stack, which is 52 years. And it's amazing that, some of them, Chief Phil was there to be there again 52 years later, and to be able to travel to South America and to do that, I had, really admire and, praise the man for his stamina and for his determination, and just for the beautiful soul he is really, and for all the good work that he's doing. And yeah, just to be there was an honor, and to realize then as well that Ireland now has been brought in under the umbrella of that prophecy as well, and given the honor of becoming a bridge builder between the First Nations of the eagle, the condor, the quetzal, and the hummingbird, and the people of the island of Ireland, and through that example to try and unite the tribes of Europe, because we have to now unity is what it's all about, to come together as one human family. So, that's a great honor to be asked to, for the Irish people, because we're recognized as not being colonizers, but colonized ourselves. And there are so much similarities in our histories with the First Nations, and connections, going right back to the, and before. But it's marked with the Choctaw Gift of 1847 in Ireland, and as we call it now, the Choctaw timeline, because that is what they did. They shot an arrow into the future, thinking of 7 generations ahead. And I was only thinking about the other day, how long in time is 7 generations, if you kind of think about it, like as in a generation, grandparents, parents, children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, like 7 generations is like roughly a timeline of that. Like you're thinking like father and daughter's timeline is roughly it's about 175 years, and there was Kindred Spirits last year, Kindred Spirits Ireland, celebrating the 175th anniversary of the Choctaw Gift. That was that was the arrow shot into the future. Is still moving forward, because this connection is getting stronger because of that, because they're part of the generations ahead. And that's all part of Indian prophecy as well. And the fact that the first America, the fact that the South America's nations even though there's geographically is a big distance and everything else. I know that at one time we were all connected and everything else, but I know we'll stem back to certain times and everything else. But prophecy, even in Western world, or even through religion, through even we just say Christianity prophecy in the Book of Revelations, it all comes down to at the end of the day that we have to come together, or change our ways, or as prophecy says, we're not going to, it's not going to turn out well for us. And that's where we find ourselves anyway today, like in the whole world. Really, we're in a position where it's not going to really turn out well for us in the future unless we learn now, like stop and think and learn from what's transpiring before our eyes, and realize the revelations of these prophecies as well, that we have to come together as one human family. Anyway, I'm going on too long again. I'm babbling. Actually, I know we were talking about this earlier as well before we even started doing any recording tonight. We were just catching up, and we were saying we're all kind of babbling because we've missed doing the block parties and having our usual conversations and everything else and what have you. But I think it's part of it as well, is because of the experience. I'm still, as Marco said a while ago, he's still trying to absorb the experience of Palenque. And I think the three of us are really, I mean, I still find it hard to articulate, and that's why we find we said babbling. So excuse me and apologize for all the babbling. But yeah, it was just a very powerful experience, and obviously we'll talk about more tomorrow, and I shouldn't have gone on so long, so I'll stop now.
No, you're grand, James. You're perfect, just as you are. Don't apologize, please. Carry on, Marco, James.
Yeah, thanks, James. That was awesome. But yeah, you're exactly right. It's like still processing, still being amazed at a lot of it, and just it's so big that it's hard to put it into words, but we'll certainly do our best tomorrow. So come with your questions about Plank, and we'll do the best to answer them we can tomorrow. Spend as much time as we need. So I really look forward to seeing everybody at Block Party 148. And that's even with taking almost 3-4 Fridays off here recently. I mean, we made small attempts to show up on Fridays, but few and far between. So we really want to look forward to having as many of you with us for April 14th block party, starting at, we're at our normal starting time, correct? 7 a.m.
Yep, 7 a.m. Pacific time. Yep.
And then going into food healers at 7:30, because there's always an implication for food healers in everything we do, because until food is a basic human right, we need to keep working at it. Okay, lots more tomorrow.
Beautiful. Look forward to seeing y'all. Thanks. Come one, come all, and everyone is welcome. So please feel free to forward this. We encourage you to please forward this invitation to everyone you know. All right. See you tomorrow, everyone. Thanks, everyone.